Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question asks if I can discuss the mental health and personality factors that may be at work with Michael Jordan. Another question here is, can I look at the docuseries, The Last Dance? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. So I'll start with the background, then move to the mental health and personality factors. Michael Jordan was born on February 17, 1963 in Brooklyn, New York. He was raised in Wilmington, North Carolina. His family moved there in 1968. His mother, Dolores, worked at a bank, and his father, James, was an equipment supervisor. Jordan was active in sports in high school, but he did not initially get onto a varsity basketball team. At that point, he was too short. The next year, when he made the team, he did quite well. After graduating high school, Jordan went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and played basketball for them. He left college in 1984, 1 year before graduating, to become a professional basketball player in the NBA. But he would return and complete his bachelor's degree in geography in 1986. Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. He would win a gold medal playing on the United States Olympic basketball team in the 1984 Summer Olympics. As a rookie in the NBA, he did quite well. He would go on to win Rookie of the Year. Early in his career, we see that other players were concerned with the amount of attention he was getting. His second season didn't go as well because he broke a bone in his foot. He missed 64 games, but he was active in the postseason. He had an exceptional game against the Boston Celtics, although the Bulls would lose against them. Jordan married in 1989. He divorced in 2006. He had 3 children from that marriage. In the 1990-91 season, the Bulls would win the NBA championship. They would go on to win the championship for the next 2 seasons as well. In 1992, Jordan would go to the Olympics for a second time and be on what was referred to as the Dream Team. He won another gold medal. In 1993, several events occurred in Michael Jordan's life. He was seen gambling, which caused a bit of a scandal. His father, James Jordan, was murdered by 2 teenage offenders, and Jordan retired from basketball, saying he lost the desire to play. In March of 1995, he announced he would return to the Chicago Bulls after spending some time on a minor league baseball team. In the 1995-96 season, he would lead the Bulls to another championship. The same thing would happen for the next 2 seasons. Michael Jordan retired again. In January 1999, he became the part owner and president of basketball operations for the Washington Wizards. In September 2001, he announced he would return to the NBA and play for the Wizards. His first season was cut short by an injury to his right knee. He would continue to play until April 2003, at which time he would retire for a 3rd time. During his basketball career, Jordan won 5 regular season MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, and 3 All-Star Game MVPs, making him the most decorated player in NBA history. Many people consider him the greatest basketball player of all time. In May 2003, the owner of the Wizards fired Michael Jordan from the president of basketball operations position. In 2006, Jordan would become part owner of an NBA team that is now known as the Charlotte Hornets. And in 2010, he would purchase the team, the first NBA player to be a majority owner of an NBA team. He was also the first NBA player to become a billionaire. Jordan would get married for a second time in 2013. The couple would have 2 daughters. So first I'll take a look at the docuseries, The Last Dance, and then I'll take a closer look at Michael Jordan. Overall, I liked the docuseries, even though it seemed like a bit of propaganda for Jordan. He had substantial editorial control, so it's not surprising that the series generally made him look good. I remember watching several of the basketball games featured in the series on TV when they were being played in the 1990s. I liked how the series allowed a person to revisit those times in a much more compressed format. In a sense, whether somebody saw the original games or not, this series captured the excitement of Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls during their golden era. Now, the series was really looking at the 1997-98 season as the Bulls worked toward that championship, while jumping back and looking at the history of Jordan and other players. I appreciate what the series was trying to do, but it would have been better to tell the story in a linear fashion. It became confusing at a few points, like what time were they talking about, especially for viewers who didn't follow the games in the 90s. In reading what some of the players said about the documentary series, it seems clear that it left a lot of information out and didn't necessarily emphasize Jordan's flaws, although the series did touch on a few of his shortcomings. Combining Jordan's portrayal in The Last Dance with what other players have said since, here are a few key points regarding the image we have of Michael Jordan. He was a phenomenally talented basketball player, both athletically and as far as intelligence. He was a smart player that studied his opponents and could think quickly on the basketball court. He was extremely competitive. His competitiveness was not limited to just basketball. He would compete in many areas. Jordan was known to gamble. The amounts he gambled were high, but he was also quite wealthy. It's not clear how problematic gambling was for Jordan. He attributed his gambling to a competition problem. Jordan said that he wanted to win at all costs. He played when injured, when sick, and when discouraged. He missed very few games. Jordan did cross the line with his teammates a few times. There was one incident where he punched a teammate, but mostly he did a lot of trash talking and belittled them. As far as figuring out his personality, this runs into the same challenge I've mentioned before, the persona versus the person. All I can really do is look at the persona, the image that somebody projects to the public. There's no way to know who the person actually is. So in looking at the persona, here's a potential personality profile. Mid-range openness to experience, high conscientiousness, he had an incredible work ethic, high extroversion, he was sensation-seeking and assertive. Agreeableness is kind of interesting. Here we see both high and low facets. On the high side, Jordan was altruistic and fairly straightforward. On the low side, he was extremely competitive and not always modest. Looking at neuroticism, here we see that his level seems low, although he appeared to get angry regularly. Which leads me to my next point. The way anger was portrayed in the series, The Last Dance, caught my attention. They almost made it seem like whenever Jordan was not doing well, when he wasn't winning, he would find some reason to get angry, some perceived slight, like something negative another player said about him. He would take this anger and convert it into a victorious performance in the next game. I don't know if they realized how many times they visited this pattern in the series. It really became comical. It reminded me of Popeye the Sailor Man, the cartoon series. Popeye was able to solve every problem with spinach. Spinach would make him extremely strong, and he could beat up all of his opponents. It was the plot to pretty much every episode of Popeye. It was like a commercial for spinach farmers. In this way, The Last Dance was a commercial for pro-anger people, I guess, whoever manufactures anger. I don't know who would want this. Are there really a lot of people standing around saying, why doesn't anybody understand the value of anger? I think what probably happened in reality was that Jordan won and lost games due to his talents and his specific performance being better or worse than his opponents. People want to find an emotional reason for his victories, so they attribute them to his increased experience of anger. The reality is, anger decreases performance in almost every way. It's a detriment to success. The mentality that anger leads to victory is also the plot of many action hero movies. How many times have hero or superhero films featured a protagonist who is beat down by a villain? The villain then does one extra thing that the hero cannot tolerate, like the villain hurts the hero's girlfriend or makes fun of him. Anger brings the hero to life. All their talents are fully expressed. They get up, dust themselves off, and they viciously attack. For example, in the 1978 movie Superman, Superman uses anger to turn back time in a comically unrealistic way. So in this way, Jordan was portrayed as a hero or superhero. He's motivated by insults, motivated by when people doubted his superiority as a basketball player. I don't know why he was portrayed this way in the series. He may have had nothing to do with that. It seems as though him being talented wasn't enough, like he had to come from this position further down. People insulted him, people put him down, and he rises all the way up to conquer them. It's far more dramatic than what really happened. The last point I want to talk about is Jordan's competitiveness. Even though his level of competitiveness has been criticized. Jordan delivered what people wanted to see. The owners of sports teams, the players, fans, everybody wants their team to win. Jordan understood what it took to win. He was determined to deliver his best performance all the time, and he wanted to make sure his teammates did the same thing. He knew he needed them to win. Hyper-competitiveness comes with some negative characteristics, like pushing others to perform. I think Jordan could have dialed back some of the trash talking and things like that, but overall, Michael Jordan was good for basketball. I think in his behavior, there are life lessons that extend beyond basketball, though. When people look at a particular sport, career choice, or area of interest, and they say they want to be the best, Jordan serves as a reminder of what it takes to achieve that goal. In a world full of the everybody gets a trophy mentality, Michael Jordan's attitude is a welcome change, reminding everyone of the value of determination and the price of success. Those are my thoughts on Michael Jordan and The Last Dance. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be interesting. Thanks for watching.